Hey, how's it going? So first of all, welcome to my channel. In this video, we'll be talking about a few tips and tricks I wish I knew when I was getting started on SketchUp. Let's just jump into it. Alright guys, so first things first, let's set our units. So you go to Window here, go to Model Info and Units. Personally, I like working with centimeters. You can change it to meters, millimeter, feet, inches, whatever you prefer. Well, with that out of the way, let's get started. So tip number one, always model in groups. So what do I mean by that? So I'll just run through a scenario where you might run into some problems. Let's draw a room of maybe 800 by 800, 8 meter by 8 meter, and let's give it an offset. F is shortcut for offset, and let's give it an offset of maybe 23 centimeters. So that is your wall thickness. And using the push tool, shortcut P, you drag it up. Let's give it a height of maybe 300 centimeters, that is 3 meters. So you might be thinking of maybe modeling a cabinet here. So let's just draw a cabinet of, yeah, why not, just a random cabinet, and you push it out, you extrude it out. Let's give it a depth of maybe 30 centimeters. And you might be thinking, maybe I do not want it here, maybe I want it somewhere else. And then once you try to move this, you will run into all sorts of problems. As you can see, the wall is stuck to the cabinet and you wouldn't want that because it will just disrupt the geometry of the model. So how will my workflow change? So let's start modeling it again. So what I would generally like to do is, as soon as I model my first object, so let's say I'm modeling this wall here, let's do it again, 800 by 800. I like to make this into a group in the beginning itself. So what I tend to do is double click it, so everything bounded by this edge gets connected, and you right click and select make group. As you can see, this is now a group, and how I would model this now is I enter the group, so you double click to enter a group, and now you start giving it an offset. Let's give it an offset of 23. Using the push tool, you push it up of 3 meters, 300 centimeters, and now as you can see, this will make my life much easier. So now, as this is a group, this is your external walls, and now you want to draw your cabinet. Alright, cabinet. So we have one here, and again, so the rule is whatever you create, once you create your first phase, you just sort it into a group. So you double click it, make group, and then double click again to enter your group. Press on the phase once, using P for push, you drag it up. Let's give it a 40 centimeter depth, and now when you start moving, there is no problem. You won't have any of that weird sticky wall geometry or nothing. You won't have any problem. So let's say you want to give this a floor. Using the rectangle command, I press my start point and bring it to the other corner, that is my end point, and I click. So again, going by the rules, the first phase you create, you double click it, right click, make group. So now we have our floor slab. So yeah, and let's say we give this a depth of maybe 15 centimeters, so that's 15 centimeters. Yeah, so now we have our floor slab. So that is rule number one. Remember guys, always work in groups. It makes your life much more easier and faster, trust me. Alright guys, so tip number two, organize your groups in Outliner. So what do I mean by that? If you might have noticed, under your default tray there is an option called Outliner. So and this might not be switched on by default, so what you will have to do is you go to Window, Default Tray, and make sure this Outliner is ticked. So yeah, you go to Default Tray, make sure it's ticked, and as you can see, an Outliner, it gives you a summary of all your objects in your model. So as you can see, if I click on this, so this was my external wall, that is a group, and this is the cabinet that I had made earlier, and this is the floor slab. And what I would like to do is, as you can see, once I click on it, it highlights my wall which is created, and I would like to go ahead and rename this. So let's give it a name, exterior wall, and if we click on this, that selects a cabinet, so let's rename this to cabinet. And so that is your floor slab, so we'll rename this to floor slab. And as you can see, this keeps it very organized, and it makes it more easier to find your objects and see what it is. And even if you, let's say, if you hide this cabinet, if you didn't have your outliner switched on, you have no idea of what's hidden. Like, there is no methods to show what objects are hidden and what is unhidden. So that is your use of your outliner. So as you can see, when I hit the cabinet, it's marked in this half tone, and that indicates that the object is hidden. So if you want to unhide it, so you just click on it and unhide. So your outliner is used to organize all your objects in the model, and I highly recommend just organizing all your groups in outliner. Alright guys, tip number 3, creating components. So what do I mean by that? So the rule over here is that if you are going to use something more than once in your model, consider making it into a component. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate it for you now. Let's just delete this ungrouped yucky model. As you know, we hate it here. Let's just move this here to the side, and let's just create a site. This should be enough. And of course, the first rule, always make it into a group and rename this. Let's just give it a name, site. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate the use of components by designing a compound wall. So this compound wall will consist of pillars and walls, and let's just go ahead and create a pillar. So let's say we have a pillar of 45 by 45, and we will make this into a component, and I'll show you why soon. Let's just name this pillar, right? And we will move this using the move command to the edge of the site, and let's just create multiple copies of this. So let's just maybe 2 meters, and let's create multiple copies. We will just press X and just say 6 copies for now. So these will be your pillars, and in between we will have the walls. Let's give it a wall depth of I think 30 should be good. So this will be Control Z, this will be a component, and we'll just say this is a wall for compound wall. As you can see, it has been created here. And first, let's just make this into a group. Make group, and now you can model inside your group. So that is how the general workflow will go. And now we have let's just go ahead and multiply these walls too into 6. What we'll do for now. So now, why create components? And as you can see, once I enter my component by double clicking it, when I select this face, as you can see, multiple faces of all your other components are being selected too. So what happens is, whatever changes you make in your component, it will reflect on all your other components too. So this helps you save lots of time while modeling, and especially when you have big projects where it will honestly be very inefficient from your side to keep making changes to single groups. And yeah, so let's just give this a height of maybe, let's just say, yeah, 250 centimeters. I think that should be enough. Yeah, 250 centimeters. And let's just go and give this a height of maybe 252. Oh, sorry, I didn't push it. My bad. Yeah, push it to 250, and we have a compound wall. So so our pros over here will be that, let's just say you might want to make it look more decorative. So let's give it a offset of maybe 10 centimeters. You push this inside a bit, and we'll give it a depth of maybe 3 centimeters. Yeah, as you can see, whatever changes I make in one component will be reflected in all the other components too. Otherwise it will just be, you will make changes to this, you will then move to this, and as you can see how inefficient that will be. Now changing this, let's just make a similar pattern. Let's give it a 20 centimeter offset, push it in maybe 5 centimeters. Yeah, now that looks much better. This is all components are also helpful, as let's say you give this a material. So B is for bucket tool, so it acts like a bucket tool. So let's just give it a yeah, let's just give it a color. So maybe some gray color over here. As you can see, it will get reflected in all your other components too. So this really helps you save time while modeling, and it really is a very efficient way of modeling, if I say so myself. Yeah, that looks much better now. And also guys, don't forget to label your group over here. As you know, I've made this all the components into a single group, and I will just rename this into compound wall. Now that is a very organized model. As you can see, it helps keep everything more organized, and yeah, it makes it very easy to read your model. Alright, thank you for watching guys. I hope you learned something in this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.